This is really interesting. So Brock Purdy did a podcast the other day. I've never really heard him in this context, and he was very expansive, and he talked about his process and how he does his craft. And he was talking about in the pocket, he can only really see where he's throwing about 60% of the time. 60% of the time he has a clear view of his target. 40% of the time he's throwing blind. That's essentially what he said. And he said, it's not just him. It's not just because he's a shorter quarterback. Brian Greasy said it's for all quarterbacks. And that could be true. I've never played quarterback, especially in the NFL. I've never heard any other quarterback say that. I've never heard Steve Young say that he was throwing blind 40% of the time. So it absolutely could be true. But this is more interesting to me in what it says about Brock, not what it says about all quarterbacks. This means that Brock definitely throws blind 40% of the time, according to him. And he kind of says it in like a good way, like it's a good thing. It actually shows why he's been such a success, because he processes so well. It's not really about seeing where you're throwing, but about knowing where you're supposed to go and throwing with anticipation, which is true. But, Brock gives himself a lot of credit for processing. He thinks it's his best trait. I've heard Steve Young say it's his superpower. And sure, it is. But if you're throwing blind 40% of the time, that means that you're essentially throwing to spots. And if defenses can figure out what those spots are, you're going to throw a lot of picks. And we've seen him throw more and more picks every season. His interception percentage has gone up every season. When he was a rookie in 2022, it was 2.4, which is about average. 2023, when he was really an MVP candidate, it went up to 2.5. And then last year, it went up to 2.6, while the touchdown percentage came crashing down. So I don't know if it's a great thing to invest $1 bajillion annually in a quarterback who's throwing blind almost half the time. Why would you say that? No one asked him to say that. He wasn't under oath. If I were Parag Marathe, I would just use that clip on a loop when I was explaining why I'm not giving him $58 million a year. No, it's 33. Because 60% of the time, you see it every time. I don't know. I'm not saying draft a quarterback who's 6'10", but maybe a guy who can see where he's throwing. Maybe that's why Brock Purdy throws more picks than you'd like him to, because he can't see it.